Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am VD and today I'm presenting a video where I show you how I make Chinese takeout at home. So let's jump in. To start, I'll be making the appetizer and I'm going to be making some cream cheese rangoons. You can add crab meat to this if you like, but I opted out. I'm just going to add the cream cheese to a bowl and season it up with some garlic powder and onion powder. I also chopped up some green onion and I'm going to add that as well. I think it gives it a nice little texture, complexity, a little crunch in there with the soft cream cheese. So I'm just going to blend everything up. And once I have that blended up as good as I possibly can, considering how stiff this cream cheese is, I'm just going to start adding it to the wrappers. I like the 2-spoon method to get this done, and I'm only using about a dollop of the filling in each. You don't want to overfill these as it could possibly spill out when you fry these. So I'm just putting a little bit in and I'm going to fill all of these up. Seal these, I'm applying some water to the edges of the wonton wrappers and this will help keep these sealed while they are being fried. To close these little babies, all I'm doing is pressing them into a triangular shape and making sure that those edges are nice and tight, and I'll be getting these into the oil for frying. These little babies cook up pretty quickly, as it had only been about 3 minutes at this point that I had them in the oil. And as you can see, one side is already starting to get some color. You want to make sure that you flip these over so both sides will look nice and golden brown. And I think for a total of 7 minutes, you'll get the perfect color that you want. You don't want these to get too crispy because they start to brown. And I'm just going to take them out and sit them on a little baking tray. And this is how they look right out of the fryer. So golden. I could not wait to try these. So let's move on now to the entree. So I will be making beef and broccoli. I'm using this beef for stir fry, and the cut portions were fine. I just wanted them a little bit thinner and I wanted them a little bit smaller. So I'm just going ahead and cutting these, and I'm going to cut them again in a kind of a diagonal shape across, just to make sure that I have bite-sized pieces when I'm eating this. So that's what I'm going to do here. And clean off this cutting board because yeah, it needs to be cleaned. And we're back. Okay, so I have the beef here and I'm going to season it up. I typically don't do any measurements when I cook, but I have compiled a list of measurements and a recipe basically for you guys. So if you want that, that will be in the description box below. But here I'm adding some soy sauce to the meat, along with some garlic powder, onion powder, my fave and great in tenderizing meat, Some Shaoxing cooking wine, not too much as you can see. I'm going to take some cornstarch, which will help to thicken this up when it gets into the pan and create a bit of a gravy. And a little bit of baking powder, which is also great for tenderization, if that's a word. And this is what everything looks like when it's all mixed together. And now to add it to my cast iron skillet, I'm adding some cooking oil and doing this fancy technique to get it swirled around. And a little bit more. Okay, that's good. One more time, fancy culinary technique. And now I'm adding my meat to the skillet, and I'm going to do this in batches because I don't want to overcrowd the skillet. I want this to cook as evenly as possible, so I'll do this in about 2 batches. And I am also adding some salt here. Definitely want to add salt even though we added and I was trying to show it wasn't clear. Want to add some salt because the soy sauce that I use is low sodium salt, so you won't get as much salt flavor. So I wanted to go in and add a little bit more for this particular dish. And I'm just letting everything cook and get a little brown. This is actually the second batch, I believe, so. And as the meat cooks, I just take it out of the pan and set it to the side. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare the sauce for this. So I had a cup of beef stock right there in the bowl, and I'm adding some soy sauce along with some ground ginger, a teaspoon of minced garlic, a smidget of brown sugar. It's probably about a teaspoon though. Again, description box will have a recipe, and some cornstarch, again acting as a thickening agent for this sauce. Whisk, whisk, whisk to make sure that everything is evenly incorporated, and then I will be setting that to the side as well as I work on the broccoli. Here are my broccoli little crowns, and I have cut these and washed them, and now it's time to get them into the skillet. I added some water to the pot because I want these to steam. And to ensure that they do steam, I will be covering these, and I covered these for about 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, this is how the broccoli looks. Nice and bright in color. The next thing I'm going to do is saute up some onions in the same pan with the broccoli. And I used about 1/2 of a yellow onion. I added a little more cooking oil, and I just sauteed these onions for about 2 to 3 minutes. Next, I am going back in with the meat that was prepared a little while ago. And I'm also adding the sauce that I made. Once that's in, I want to make sure everything gets cooked in this sauce, so I'm just mixing everything around. And this is what we're looking like. This is basically done, you guys. So I'm just gonna set this to the side and work on the next item, which is the fried rice. For this, I am chopping up some green onion. I'm going to do that rather briskly because this is a sped up clip. And then I'm going to move on to preparing the egg for the rice. And this is simple. I'm just scrambling up some egg, and once it's all cooked, I'm going to set that to the side as well. For the rice, typically you want to have day-old rice, but I just prepared some rice earlier in the day and I set it in the fridge until I was ready to cook. And here it is. I just have it in my pan and I'm going to season this right on up. So I'll be using some garlic powder, onion powder. I mean, one trick pony. A lot of these seasonings go across many dishes, but I'll be using some white pepper as well. There's my onion powder. Some fine Mediterranean sea salt. Soy sauce, which is crucial to this dish, of course. But the key ingredient here to getting that color is premium dark soy sauce. This is what takes it to the next level, is this premium dark soy sauce. So I'm just adding a bit of this. You don't need a whole lot because a little goes a long way. Same thing with the sesame seed oil. Just a touch of it to give you that flavor. It's really great, but you don't want to overpower any of your dishes with it. So I'm just incorporating all of that onto the rice, making sure everything gets nice and mixed and coated. And now it's time to add that bean sprout. I love bean sprout in fried rice, so I'm adding that, and then I'm also going to add my green onion as well. And once that's all incorporated, I definitely want to let this rice steam a bit, so I add maybe about 3 tablespoons or 4 tablespoons of water to this dish, and I'm going to cover it so that the rice can steam a bit, and that'll help to wilt things down as well in terms of bean sprout. I added the egg to the rice, and I keep that for last because you don't want it to get too tough and rubbery. And not gonna lie, it smells so good at this point. That's the tough part about cooking. It's like you have to wait until everything's done, but this smelled really good. Now it's time to make those Chinese chicken wings, and honestly I just followed Ray Mack's recipe. If you haven't seen that video, I will leave a link to his video in my description box. It's pretty great, and I followed the recipe exactly, with the exception that I added some brown sugar instead of white sugar here. But what you've seen so far is me adding garlic powder, onion powder, white pepper, and black pepper. Here is my sea salt, seasoning liberally, very important. There's the brown sugar, and here is some flour, some cornstarch. This is what gets those wings extra crispy, but you don't want to add too much, so just a bit. Some sesame oil, some soy sauce, a little Shaoxing cooking wine, and 1 egg beaten. Then we're going to just mix all this up and place these wings in the fridge for about 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, as you can see, we have a lot of liquid here, and we don't want to drop that right into the fryer, so I'm going to dredge these in a bit more flour and cornstarch. And this is how the wings are looking. So it is time to fry them on up. So as Ray Mack did in his video, I will be double frying these wings. For the first fry, I did this for about 7 to 8 minutes for both batches, and in between frying, I set them on a cooling rack so that some of the excess oil could fall off. And then I go right back in, but you can see from this first batch that we already have a bit of nice crispy skin on here, a nice crispy coating, which is what you want to see. Now it is time for round 2 of frying. I'm going to let each batch sit in the oil for about 4 minutes. The oil was nice and piping hot, so I didn't need to leave them in for very long. The wings came out looking nice and crispy and had a little more color to them, which was perfect. So I'm just going to take this first batch out and then go in with the second batch. I left the audio in here so that you could hear that the wings were nice and crispy, just like you like them when you order them from your favorite takeout place. So definitely check out Ray Mack's video. It was perfection. But now it's time to assemble my plate. Let's get it going. So here it is, everything on the plate, a feast if you will. I don't know about you, but when I order Chinese takeout, I order several things, so I definitely wanted to bring that feeling home. And if you are looking forward to doing something like this, leave me a comment below and be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel for more cooking videos. I have a ton of stuff coming on the way, and I thank you so much for watching this one. I will see you in my next one. Bye.